Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 31 of One Step at a Time with Charlie Chen. Um, as you know, I've been putting out a lot of videos lately, mostly doing editing for Along for the Vibes, as well as, you haven't seen it yet, but I helped Courtney. Well, my friend Courtney just got on Coldtowne recently, and I helped him with video editing and also coming up, well, maybe not video editing, but mostly the music part, right? I did the bass, I did the synth, and then I mixed it all together in GarageBand, and then I recorded his beatboxing, and then we used Audacity and to get it just right, and then so now it's on his channel. All that being said, what I'm trying to say is I'm happy, but I'm also tired. So, but I'm still doing what I can to keep up the 1 week video thing. So for this week, what I want to talk about is this. So the topic of this week's video is this: rules are for strangers. Now, what do I mean by that? You heard of the quote, "Rules are meant to be broken," right? But rules are meant to be broken, follow a certain thing. If all there are some assumptions to things, like that's one of the biggest things I've learned once I became an adult is that, well, maybe not become an adult. Sometimes I still feel like a child, but once I become more enlightened or more awake, is that simple sentences, while good on paper, they have so much assumptions built onto them, and if you really chew on it, it's actually making more statement than simple words, right? Because rules are made to be broken. So on the surface, it's essentially saying that, well, at least it's implying that, well, one day you can get worthy or get strong enough that you can bypass rules that's for everyone else, right? And it is meant to be broken. Well, if it is meant to be broken, why do we have rules in the first place, right? Then, on top of that, then it's like, well, what does that mean that everyone else who follow rules are suckers? Because if it is meant to be broken, but they're restrained by it, that means they're losers, right? So it's like there are some assumptions when you say rules are meant to be broken, right? And then you look at the people who can break rules in today's world. Now, of course, and not just on in the media, like your everyday, you have people doing crazy stuff on the road. You have people who, I don't know, steal paper clips and pen from workplace all the time, right? But so so it seems like rules are being broken, but the degree of rules being broken is different, and who gets to break the rules are also different, right? So that's why I was thinking about all this the other day, and I think for me, the the conclusion was closer to this. It's something like rules are made for strangers. In other words, there are no rules for people that you trust, and there are no rules for people that you know already, right? Now, why is that, right? Because, well, that's the thing, right? Like you think about things that happen at a house, right? Um, Sometimes things just happen at the house, and I'm not even talking about like intimacy. I'm just talking about like family activities or anything like that. Sure, sometimes they will say that, "Would you like to join us?" But a lot of times it's just an announcement, and then it just happens, right? And and the family is fine whether you join them or you don't join them. If you're in a loving family, they don't care, right? Because they know that you will come around when it's time for you to come around, and there must be good reason for you to keep to yourself, right? Actually, let me cough real quick. Give me a second. Oh god, this allergy is killing me. But anyway, oh, and I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow to have a check. But so you have that. But there's so much more to it, right? Because it's like you think about things like how people in my generation and younger are complaining about not being able to afford a home, and how quote for quote is like they would like to say that boomers had it easy back then, right? But then I was thinking to myself the other day, like, what was the world like when boomers were buying homes, right? Like, if you really think about it, 1920s, 19 like from 1920s to 1950s, 1960s, I think. Well, when was civil rights? When was civil rights established? When was civil rights? When was 1954 to 1968, right? That's less than 100 years ago. So what I'm trying to say is that because you hear the stories about people buying home with 20 bucks, a handshake, and a basket of fruits or whatever, right? Well, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like a deal you would give to your buddy, to someone that you would know, right? So I'll just say it straight. I think back then, I'll say it straight. It's like white people helping out white people, right? Because when we think about people who are able to buy homes like that, people who are because we're referencing white people who were able to trust other white people and help each other, right? And I'm not trying to be racist or something. It was just a matter of fact, right? Because you hear stories about redlining and all the other different things that happen to other people, like the people of color and other minorities. It doesn't happen. I I think that the rosy picture that we have of boomers being able to buy a house on the cheap without resistance is overly glorified, right? Because because you're essentially it's almost like saying life is great in America, but your frame of reference is Disney movies or Hollywood, where how white people live, right? Now, like, that's not to say that if you're from a third world country, your quality of life in America is better than your life back there, right? So it's still a better life, but it's almost like your life, as nasty as it sounds, your life will never be as good as a white person, right? Now, I don't want it to be true, but it's hinting at it a little bit, right? And but that's the thing. It's like the situation and in the world that we live in is so messed up right now is that gratitude is only thing gratitude is the only thing I have, because if I don't, it's almost like if you are not grateful for what you have now, they can always take more away, that kind of feeling, you know? And that just doesn't sit right, right? It's like the ones in power won't necessarily make our life better, but they for sure knows how to make our life worse, right? So so we have all that going. And and when it comes to, like, rules breaking and things like that, so this is how it plays out normally when people break rules, okay? If someone breaks rules, if they don't have the power, they get immediately get reprimanded for it, they get punished for it, or maybe they get away with it because the rule was really there to deter people, but it's never meant to be enforced, right? Now, if they're a big enough player and then they break the rule, then the rule starts to mutate, right? It makes exceptions for them, or it rewrites itself where they breaking the rules becomes justified, right? And it's all for the people who are within. It's sort of like this inner circle concept socially, right? Like I have my group of friends, you have your group of friends, and then you also have people who are up top in their group of friends, right? And the further you are from the group of friends who actually holds political power and governmental power and all that, the further you are, the rules start to become laws, right? And the laws pretty much determines who belongs and who doesn't, right? So while it's nice to say rules are meant to be broken, not everyone is meant for rules breaking. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person, because that's the thing. Like in America, one of the things that's weird is that they equate money with power and righteousness. And it gets weird, right? Because it becomes something like you need to be, it's like what Jordan Peterson said, is something like you need to be capable of evil before you're allowed to be good, because you have to restrain yourself for your good to count or something like that. But it's just so backwards. Why can't people just be good whether or not they can commit evil, right? Like what does the worth of the individual matter when it comes to just doing good? If everyone does good, big or small, for the society to move forward. But then that's the thing, right? Good for different people are different things. So then you have different people doing what's right, but going in all different kinds of directions, and then nothing else gets done, right? So yeah, and then it becomes no good deeds goes unpunished. But yeah, rules are made for people that you don't know, and it's just, it's like saying it's just the way it is, and in a way it is that way, and it takes an enormous amount of either trust or capabilities for someone to be able to accept other people so openly, or maybe they're just recklessly nice or something. But I guess the point of all this is this, right? It's nice for people to say that rules are meant to be broken, but just like my video on how consent is a lie, rules are meant to be broken is an overly simple quote that based on faulty assumptions. And people live in ways that they can't, so quotes like rules are meant to be broken almost puts morality and capability, the onus on people, when sometimes it may or may not even be something that they can control, right? And hence, rules are made for people that you don't know. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is, rather than trying to be so powerful that you can break all the kind of rules, why not just make friends and be part of the group that's, excluded from rules that keeps the outsiders out. But anyway, I'm extremely tired, and I'm gonna go rest, but I'm very happy that I'm still able to create this video for you. I'll see you guys next week.